Why should you actually employ all of them? Why should you employ 50 people when you know your country, or rather your finances can only manage 20 people? Why should you employ 50 people when you know very well that your economy, or rather your country, the money that is in your country, or rather the money that is in the government, can only pay 30 people, or rather 20 people? If you're not looking for ways to do corruption, what are you trying to do? Because if you know the money that you have can only pay 20 people, why should you go on and employ 50 people? So you're employing 50 people, and then you're going to borrow money. You're going into loans for you to be able to pay people that you have employed. Now, which kind of a business is that? Hello, Africa. Hello, home. Aluta continua. The struggle continues every day and every time. That is why, once again, I'm here before you, because we must keep the struggle and we must keep the spirit burning every day and every time. That is what we are entitled to, and that is what we have given ourselves. It's an activity and a responsibility we have entitled ourselves. You're not going to get tired. We shall continue doing this time and again, every moment, until the day comes, the day of redemption and the day of freedom and liberation. We shall not get tired. Africa is home. Africa is our motherland. We love Africa. We love black people, black brothers and black sisters. I salute you all. Now, one thing that you did not know, that Ibrahim Traore realized, Ibrahim Traore knew, and other Pan-Africanists and other people who are fighting for the freedom of Africa, who are fighting for the land, who are fighting for the motherland, who are fighting for the resources of Africa and for the unity of Africa. There is one thing they realized that many of us did not know, and even you, maybe in one way or the other, you didn't know. This is one thing that these great people like P.L. Lumumba, people like Julius Malema, people like Joshua Maponga, all these people who are fighting for Africa, who have been talking about Africa all the times, everywhere, every moment. There is one thing they knew that a lot of us did not know. But today, let me show you. We have African countries that have got IMF loans. The top 10 countries in Africa that have IMF loans. And before I jump into this, I want to tell you something. A white man realized something, and he decided to use it to destroy some things, or rather he decided to use these to be able to capture you, or to capture these countries. Number one, these people, they have realized that a country that does not have anything, they cannot go to that country, they cannot invade in that country, they can't go to that country. And you will realize that every country that they went to and every country they were able to go to, these countries were countries that actually had a lot of minerals. They really had a lot of minerals, and they had something. And you realize before they loan a certain country, they are loaning that country because this country has got something they can come and take, or rather they can come and pick from you. So they give you a loan, and even if you go to them to ask for another loan, they will still give it to you, because they know and they understand that your country has got something they can take. And so it becomes very difficult for you as a leader or as a politician to be able to tell these people not to come into your country, because at the end of the day, you realize one thing. At the end of the day, you know, I owe these people. I have the money that belongs to these people. So me asking them actually to go out of my country, it's very difficult. And since a white man realized this, he has been taking advantage of a black person for a very long time. He has been taking advantage of a black person for a very, very, very long time. Without wasting time, let me jump into this. Let me mention to you top 10 or maybe 10, 11, 12 countries that actually have IMF loans here in Africa. The top 10 with the highest debt of IMF. Number one country, we are starting with Egypt. Egypt is the first one. Egypt tops the list with over 9 billion in outstanding debt of the IMF. The country has experienced economic strain due to currency evolution, inflation, and rising commodity prices, leading to repeated engagement with international financial institutions. Egypt has sought to stabilize its economy through various IMF programs, treating fiscal reforms and structural adjustments. So Egypt is topping the list with over $9 billion. Okay. Country number 2 is Angola. Angola reliance on the IMF has been driven by fluctuations in oil prices with over $2.9 billion. So Angola is at the second. Now Egypt has really borrowed from the IMF. You can see the gap between Egypt and Angola is very huge. It's very huge. Now Angola is at the second place with 2.9 billion, which has heavily impacted the country's revenue base. Angola has been implementing reforms under IMF programs aimed at improving debt stability, enhancing public financial management, and diversifying the economy away from oil dependence. Country number three is country led by Mr. William Ruto, the one and only Mr. William Ruto. Kenya is at position 3. Kenya ranks third with over 2.5 billion. So Angola is at 2.9 billion and Kenya is at 2.5 billion. Okay. Driven by both domestic challenges and external vulnerabilities. Now, the country has sought financial assistance from the IMF to support its balance of payments and strengthen its fiscal framework. Inflationary pressures, public debt accumulation, and a need for social protection funding have also contributed to Kenya's growing resilience on external credit. Now, there is something here that I don't really understand. If you are a country and you know you are not able to pay many employees, why should you actually employ all of them? Why should you employ 50 people when you know your country, or rather your finances can only manage 20 people? Why should you employ 50 people when you know very well that your economy, or rather your country, the money that is in your country, or rather the money that is in the government, can only pay 30 people, or rather 20 people? If you're not looking for ways to do corruption, what are you trying to do? Because if you know the money that you have can only pay 20 people, why should you go on and employ 50 people? So you're employing 50 people and then you're going to borrow money. You're going into loans for you to be able to pay people that you have employed. Now, which kind of a business is that? I borrow money to pay my employees, to pay the people I have employed. You see, like, I don't understand. Sometimes, did we really go to school, or what did we do? Or we just want to do corruption? Because these are the kind of people who are actually sinking Africa. These are the kind of people who are sinking African countries into a sea that we cannot be able actually to fish ourselves out. Why should you borrow money to pay people? Why should you borrow money to stand for development and other things? You're borrowing money to come and build something. Why don't you work with the taxes within your country to be able? Because if your country has a number of people, I believe when you just set yourself very well and these people give taxes, you can be able actually to manage your country using the taxes that people are actually doing what? Are paying. Why should you go for loans if it is not a way of doing corruption? Okay, that is one thing that we really need to get rid of it. And that is one thing that Ibrahim Traore understood in his mind. That is one thing that all those other captains, other generals who took over the government understood. That is one thing that the Pan-Africanists who are out here talking every day understood. They have that in mind. And because they have that in mind, that is why they are waking up and they are coming up to try to enlighten people and tell these people, you know what? This is not what we are actually supposed to be doing. Okay? That is Kenya at number 3. Kenya has really, really, really disappointed me. You're borrowing money to pay people, to pay the workers. No. At number 4, we have Ghana. Ghana has accumulated over $2.2 billion. Now, Kenya is at $2.5 billion. Ghana is at $2.2 billion. Okay? Faced with economic difficulties marked by high inflation, currency depreciation, and rising debt levels, the country IMF engagement has aimed at stabilizing the economy through fiscal consolidation, monetary policy adjustments, and structural reforms to address economic imbalances. And the question still comes in my mind. The question is still rising up itself every time and every moment. Listen, now here at Ghana, when we were Ghana at 2.2 billion. Now, the IMF has engaged, has aimed at stabilizing the economy. Now, if a country has got people who are paying taxes, what is difficult for you as a president, for you as a leader of that country, to be able to stabilize your own economy using the taxes that are being paid by the people in your country? Do you have to go out there and borrow money for you to be able to come and raise the economy of your country? That is the question I'm asking myself, and that is the question I'm asking everybody. Because right now, Ibrahim Traore has already started paying the debt that Burkina Faso had. And my question now is here. The previous president who was in Burkina Faso was not paying the debt that Burkina Faso had. But since Ibrahim Traore came in, he has already started paying the debt that Burkina Faso had. Okay? And my question is, what was difficult for the previous president to be able to pay that debt, and what has changed when Ibrahim Traore has come in and he is now paying the debt that Burkina Faso had? You see, these presidents, these politicians, they are playing with our minds. Because it's not that a country is failing or it's difficult for a country to be able to pay the loans. A country can be able to stand for itself and pay the loans. A country can generate a lot of money to an extent. You don't need to go to IMF or other lending organizations to lend you money for you to be able to run your country. At country number 5, we have Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast has over 2.2 billion in debt to the IMF, driven by the need to finance infrastructure projects and address external shocks. The country's program with the IMF have focused on strengthening public finances and maintaining microeconomic stability to support continued growth. At number 6, we have Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The Democratic Republic of Congo has seen its debt to over 1.5 billion in IMF debt, in part due to efforts to stabilize its economy aimed at ongoing conflict and governance challenges. The DRC relationship with the IMF has been central to reforms to improve fiscal transparency, to manage and manage resources wealth efficiently. At number 7, we have South Africa. Now, South Africa stands at over 1.5 billion. Now, Democratic Republic of Congo and South Africa, they are at Q. They are at pi with all of them over 1.5 billion. Its debt reflects the country's struggles with slow economic growth. Now, I want us to bring our minds together. Or let me finish, then we shall come to this. We have at number 8 Senegal. Senegal has improved over 1.1 billion from the IMF support. Its economic development plans and managed the effects of external factors such as global inflation and energy price volatility. At number 9, we have Cameroon. Cameroon owes over 1.1 billion in IMF debt. 1.1 billion. We have Ethiopia at number 10, which rounds out list with just over 1 billion in IMF debt. The country's ongoing conflicts and challenges related to inflation and currency instability have driven its need for external financial support. IMF-backed reforms in Ethiopia focuses on addressing macroeconomic imbalances and supporting the country's development goals. Now, we shall start with Ethiopia. Listen, I want you to listen to this very much. These are things that people with great minds, people with broad minds, they have understood this. They have understood this plan. They have understood these criteria that the white people are using, and therefore they cannot be manipulated anymore, because once you get knowledge, you cease from being a fool immediately. Once you have the knowledge in your mind, you immediately cease from being a fool, and nobody can use you anymore. People who have been using you, people who have been taking advantage of you, they cannot take advantage of you anymore. And that is why these white people and the European countries, it is very, they are really struggling to make people continue being fools, so that we cannot be able to understand, because they have really realized the moment we understand, the moment we get knowledge, it is very difficult for them to control us. And that is why a clever mind like Ibrahim's mind is not wanted in Africa. A clever mind like PLO Lumumba's mind is not wanted in Africa. A clever mind like Joshua Maponga's mind is not wanted in Africa. Okay? They are blocking such kind of minds to come up, because they know once those kind of minds arise in Africa, it's going to be very difficult for them to control Africa. And I'm telling them, it is now or never, because a time has come when they don't have to control us anymore. They cannot control us anymore. They're not going to control us anymore. It's going to be very difficult for them to do that. They've been doing that for quite some time, but we are now waking up. We are now rising up. Pardon my manners. I'm having a problem a little bit, but don't worry, everything is well. We shall continue. Now, these people, they're struggling to make sure great minds are not arising in Africa, because the moment great minds rise in Africa, it is bringing fear to them. Once we have that knowledge, once we get that knowledge, okay, we lose our fear. The moment we lose our fear, they begin losing their power. Okay? And I'm sorry for them, because a time has come when things have to change. Now, listen to this. Ethiopia is standing at number 10, okay, with over 1 billion IMF debt. And let me tell you something. The reason as to why Ethiopia has borrowed 1 billion or over 1 billion, it's because the country's ongoing conflicts and challenges related to inflation and currency instability. The country ongoing conflicts. The country ongoing what? Conflicts. Let's start from conflicts. A white man comes to your country. He creates a problem. He provides a solution. This is something we've been talking about time and again. A white man country, or rather a white man comes to your country. He creates a problem. After creating a problem, he provides a solution. After providing a solution, he places that solution open for you to be able to see that actually this guy has a solution to the problem that I am going through. What do? You find no otherwise. You get no otherwise. You remain with no otherwise but to go to this man for you to be able to be given that solution. Okay? For you to be able to be offered that solution. When this white man sees you coming for a solution, what does he do? He gives condition. He tells you, now, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4 if you need my assistance. Failure to that, I'll not assist you. What do? You remain with no option but to follow the conditions, or rather to concur with the conditions that the white man has given to you, so that you can be able to be given a certain solution for a certain problem. So Ethiopia has to go to a white man land. Ethiopia has to go to a white man land to be given money, because the conflicts that are going on in his country has actually made it has made the instability it has made its economy, okay, it has actually brought the instability in the currency and its economy, okay. Conflicts that are in that country, these conflicts have been created by a white man. So a white man comes to your country, he creates a conflict, and then he provides a solution. By conflict, I mean he creates a problem, he tends to provide a solution for a certain problem that he has actually created. He places this solution openly for you to be able to see that this man, or rather this country, has a solution. Okay? So you tend to go to this country, or rather to this person, to be able to be offered this solution to this problem. When he sees you coming, he creates conditions. Okay? He tells you now, for you to be able to get a certain solution, you're supposed to do 1, 2, 3 for you to get this solution. Because you need that solution. Because people in your country are demanding for solutions to the problems that are going on in your country. You remain with no otherwise than to concur with the conditions to be given a certain solution. That is a trick that only people with broad minds have understood. People like Ibrahim Traore, people like PLO Lumumba, the Pan-Africanists who are talking, people like Joshua Maponga, people like Julius Malema, and many other Pan-Africanists who are speaking. They understood that criteria, and that is why they are up talking every time. Okay, they are speaking all the times. They are speaking every minute. Okay, and so for me to bring this topic, I wanted you to understand something. This is what I wanted you to understand. Like, for example, let's get to a country like South Africa. Now, I want you to, there is something very funny here. South Africa owes over 1.5 billion to IMF. Its debt reflects to the country's struggles with low economic growth. Of all the countries in Africa, South Africa going to borrow money to IMF because it is struggling with slow economic growth? Seriously. A country like South Africa, a country that is the most developed African country, one of the most developed African countries here in Africa, struggling with its economic growth, and therefore it has to go to IMF to borrow some loans. A country that is one of the biggest gold mining countries here in Africa, going to IMF to borrow loan because it is struggling with its economic growth. Tell me, do you think seriously South Africa went to borrow money because of its economic growth, because it's struggling with its economic growth? If it's not corruption, presidents who are full of corruption, if it's not leaders who are full of corruption, they just want to take money to keep that money for themselves, what is it? That is a question that I'm asking all of us. A question that I'm asking Africans. A question that I don't know who is going to answer that question. But it's a question that I'm asking all of us. You see, Africa is being killed by the politicians we are having, by the leaders we are having in the name of presidents. Because, like for example, I talked about Kenya. Kenya borrowed money. Kenya is standing at position 2. With about position 3 with about $2.5 billion. And the reason as to why Kenya went to borrow money is because Kenya was supposed to do what? Is borrowing money to pay the workers. To pay the workers. Now, why should you borrow money to pay workers? If you cannot be able to pay your workers, if the money that is in your country cannot be able to pay people in your country, why should you employ more than what your country, or rather more than the money you have, can pay? Are you getting my point? See, a country, you're a president of a certain country, and your country can be able to pay 50 employees. Why should you employ 100 of them? So you're employing more than your country can pay, and then you go out there to borrow money to come and pay. It's like you're starting a business, you're employing 1,000 people, but the business you have can only pay 500 people. Are you making profits or you're making losses? What am I trying to say? Don't focus so much on these things, on the issues of money, of maybe countries and where do the certain countries stand. Or whatever I wanted you to understand is this. African countries, many of them, we are borrowing money, and the money we are borrowing it because we want to satisfy ourselves. We want our pockets to be full. So we go and borrow money because the countries that are borrowing money, many of them, they are underdeveloped. There is no any development that is in that country. Where is that money going to? Where is that money going to? A president comes to us to the throne. The manifesto he has in his campaigns is, I'm going to struggle to pay the loans we are having. The moment he gets there, the first thing he does, he goes to IMF to go and borrow money. And we, as people who are going to borrow money, we think that we are helping ourselves, okay? Or we think that those people are helping us. But on the other hand, something we have not realized is that these people, they are not helping us. To them, when you go to borrow money, they feel good. They feel very good. And I will tell you why. All these countries that have been offered money, that have been given money by the IMF, they are countries that have something. They are countries that can, like, they can give something in return. So they give you more money because they know when they come in your country and invade in your country, there is something they can get from your country. If you fail to pay that money, there is something they can actually get from your country. Listen, Senegal as a country is a mining industry. It mines gold, it mines iron, it mines many other minerals. Cameroon as a country, it mines bauxite, it mines cobalt, it mines gold. Let's come to a country like South Africa. South Africa itself mines. South Africa is rich in variety of minerals in addition to diamonds and gold. Okay, so gold and diamonds in South Africa are the main minerals. The country also contains reserves of iron, ore, platinum, manganese, chromium, copper, uranium, silver, beryllium, and titanium. All those things are minerals found in South Africa. South Africa has a loan in the IMF. Ethiopia has mining activity. In Ethiopia, we have diamonds mineral. We have other minerals like also gold is also mined in Ethiopia, and salt is mined in Ethiopia, and many other minerals. Let's come to a country, Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt is mined in Congo, copper is mined in Congo, diamonds are mined in Congo, lithium are mined in Congo, tantalum, tin, and gold, they are also mined in Congo. Congo has a debt in IMF. A country like Cote d'Ivoire mine golds. The country has the largest deposit of gold, oil, and gas. They are mined in Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, I mean. Manganese, iron, and ore, they are mined in that country. Diamonds are mined in that country. Copper is mined in that country. And ornament stones, they are mined in that country. Cote d'Ivoire also has a loan in IMF. Ghana, gold, bauxite, diamonds, iron, ore, and other minerals. Angola has diamonds. He also has minerals like copper, gold, iron, ore, uranium, and various types of minerals. Kenya has metallic minerals like gold, copper, silver, lead, titanium, zinc, nickel, chromite, pyrite, manganese, and many other golds, many other minerals. When we come to Egypt, we shall find minerals like tantalum, coal, and gold. All these countries that owe IMF, they are countries that have minerals in them. Why should you go to borrow money to IMF? Because you are corrupt. Because the money that you're going to borrow from IMF is the money you want to keep it in your pockets. You want to satisfy yourself with it. You think you're helping yourself. You failed to realize that you are helping a white man. You are helping European countries. You are helping those people. Because when they give you that money, they are very happy because they know they will get something in return. But you think it is a help you're giving to yourself. Okay? And so, people with great minds, they have realized this. They have realized this criteria, and therefore it is very difficult for them now to do this. They are getting out of this. They are cutting ties with the white man because they understand they've been used for quite some time. These countries have been using them. These people have been using them. Okay? So these people will give you money because they know there is something in your country that they can take. And that is why they've been taking it all the times. They don't need to ask for permission because you have something that belongs to them. You have their money. You are keeping their money with yourself. So even if they come and stay in your country, and that is why when you go back there with a loan, they will still give you another loan. Why do they give you another loan? They give you another loan because they still want to keep invading in your countries. They still want to keep taking the minerals that are in your countries. So they will keep on giving you the loans. They will not fail to give you the loans. All the times they will give that loans to you. But you think they are too good to us. That is why they are giving us those loans. What you have failed to understand is that you are being used. And you don't understand. You don't know you are being used. You think you are being helped. Let us get out of this. Let us change our minds. Let us start helping the people who voted for us into government. Let us stop corruption. Let us stop the greed that we have. Our land has got minerals. Our land has got resources. We can use these resources and turn them into money. Instead of you going and borrow money, turn the resources that are in your country into money. Because we are able, we can do that. That is what TRAORE is doing in his country. That is what other leaders who have waken up, their minds have actually risen up. That is what they are doing. So kindly, let us actually stop doing this and start working for the people who voted for us into government. Please, kindly, I urge you all. Africa is our land. We must fight for Africa. Africa is home. So if you're an African, an African politician, if you're an African leader, work for Africans. Know that it's African people who voted for you. And instead of you making them go through hard time, start helping them. We are not supposed to be borrowing money to be able to help ourselves. We can help ourselves without borrowing this money. These people are not helping us when they are giving us this money. They are helping themselves. And that is one thing we need to understand. Africa is home. Anything that concerns Africa concerns me and you as black people. Black brother, black sister, I salute you. Adios.